Crowned as Queen Bey by millions, Beyoncé has reigned supreme over the worlds of music, fashion, and business. But beyond the stage lights and red carpets, what does life really look like for this global icon in 2025? In this video, we unlock the doors to Beyoncé's dazzling lifestyle. From her opulent mansions that rival royal palaces, to a fleet of exotic cars, a sleek private jet, and the luxuries that define true superstardom. We'll also uncover the empire she's built, hit albums, power moves, and billion-dollar ventures, along with her jaw-dropping net worth in 2025. This is more than fame, it's Beyoncé's world, and we're just living in it. Before she was a global icon, before she was Queen Bey, Beyoncé Giselle Knowles was simply a girl from Houston, born on September 4, 1981. Raised in the middle-class neighborhood of 3rd Ward, her roots were steeped in tradition, talent, and Texas grit. Her father, Matthew Knowles, worked as a Xerox sales executive with a relentless drive, while her mother, Tina Knowles, was a hairstylist and salon owner with a deep love for fashion and aesthetics, a blend of structure and style that would echo through Beyoncé's entire life. The Knowles household wasn't one of indulgence, but one of intention. From an early age, Beyoncé exhibited signs of something different, a magnetic stage presence, an uncanny ear for pitch, and an almost spiritual devotion to performance. Tina recalls moments when Beyoncé would sing hymns in church, with a voice far beyond her years, eyes closed, hands trembling, as if even then, she understood the power of presence. But raw talent alone doesn't make a star. It was Matthew's unwavering belief in his daughter's potential that turned possibility into path. He began managing her career when she was just a child, leaving his corporate job to focus entirely on building Beyoncé's future, a move met with both skepticism and sacrifice. Together, they entered her into local talent shows and competitions. Beyoncé often walked away with the trophy, but each win wasn't just a victory, it was a rehearsal for something greater. The young singer began to learn discipline, rehearsing choreography and vocals for hours. While other kids played outside, she was mastering routines in front of the living room mirror. From the kitchen table where her mother sketched costume ideas, to the tiny recording booth her father rigged in the garage, the Knowles home slowly transformed into a factory of dreams. Beyoncé's childhood wasn't ordinary, but it was intentional. This was the foundation of Beyoncé's empire, not built on instant fame, but on the quiet hours, the parental faith, the Houston heat. A young girl with a gift, in a household where art met ambition. And though the world had yet to see it, the Queen was already in the making. Beyoncé's earliest education didn't just happen in classrooms. It happened in recording studios, dance halls, and rehearsal spaces her father rented out on weekends. From a young age, she displayed the rare combination of raw talent and tireless discipline, two forces that would come to define her ascent. She began her formal education at St. Mary's Elementary School in Houston, where she was quickly enrolled in dance classes. It was during one of those sessions that a teacher recognized her unique vocal ability, not just her ability to sing on key, but her sensitivity to harmony, rhythm, and performance. That moment marked the beginning of a journey that would soon consume every spare moment of her life. Her parents, fully committed to nurturing her gift, began investing time and resources into expanding her training. Beyoncé studied classical music, took vocal lessons, and spent weekends entering talent competitions across Texas. She won so consistently that it became expected. Her name was often announced before the judges had finished scoring. The local talent show circuit became her first stage, and with each performance, her confidence deepened. By her early teens, Beyoncé was placed in Houston's high school for the performing and visual arts. It was there that she began to understand not only her voice, but also the art of presentation. She learned music theory, experimented with different genres, and embraced stagecraft in a way that felt instinctive. The school's emphasis on professionalism, paired with her family's relentless encouragement, created a training ground that would rival any formal conservatory. But some of the most critical influences came outside school walls. Beyoncé grew up listening to icons like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Tina Turner, not just admiring their voices, but studying their moves, their showmanship, their control over a crowd. She was drawn to the way they turned pain into power and turned a single stage into an entire world. From an early age, she didn't want to be just a singer. She wanted to be a performer, a creator, a force. And while other teenagers were still discovering who they wanted to be, Beyoncé was already laying the bricks for a legacy that would one day transcend music itself. By the time Beyoncé entered her teenage years, she was no longer just a local talent. She was the nucleus of a growing movement. That movement crystallized in the formation of Girls' Time, an all-girl performance group organized by Matthew Knowles, featuring Beyoncé as the undeniable lead. The group had big dreams and a dedicated team of parents and coaches, but their first major national opportunity came with heartbreak. In 1993, Girls' Time appeared on the televised talent show Star Search, the American Idol of its day. To their shock, they lost. The defeat was public and painful, but it ignited a fire in Beyoncé that would never burn out. Rather than give up, the group rebranded. Matthew Knowles stepped in as full-time manager, reshaped the lineup, and renamed them Destiny's Child, a title inspired by a passage in the book of Isaiah, reflecting both spiritual belief and a sense of purpose. After years of grind, local performances, and demo tapes, Destiny's Child signed their first recording deal with Columbia Records in 1997. Beyoncé was only 15. That same year, they released their debut single, No, 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 which climbed swiftly up the Billboard charts and signaled that something powerful was arriving in R&B. It wasn't all smooth sailing. The group underwent lineup changes, management scrutiny, and legal battles, all while Beyoncé continued to develop her craft. Even amid the turbulence, she emerged as the central figure, the lead vocalist, the co-writer, the quiet architect behind the music. The group's sophomore album, The Writings on the Wall, marked their true commercial breakthrough. With hits like Say My Name, Bills, 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 and Jumpin' Jumpin', Destiny's Child was no longer just an up-and-coming girl group. They were dominating charts worldwide. Beyoncé's presence began to stand apart. Her vocal range, emotional delivery, and performance instincts made her not only the face of Destiny's Child, but also a rising solo star in the making. Industry insiders took notice. She was more than just a singer. She was a leader even then, shaping the sound and direction of a multi-million-dollar act. What had started as a childhood dream in Houston was now a reality playing out on global stages. And for Beyoncé, this was only the beginning. By the early 2000s, Beyoncé wasn't just a rising star. She was a storm gathering momentum. Destiny's Child had become a global phenomenon, but Beyoncé's influence within the group had expanded well beyond lead vocals. She was now co-writing, co-producing, and subtly steering their sound into something more polished, more powerful, and undeniably hers. With the release of Survivor in 2001, Destiny's Child confirmed their place at the top. The title track became an anthem of perseverance, defiance, and strength. And Beyoncé's voice delivered every lyric with conviction, shaped by her own trials in the industry. The album sold millions, won Grammys, and elevated the group from pop stars to pop culture staples. But even in a trio, the spotlight kept drifting toward Beyoncé. Her ability to command a stage, to fuse technical mastery with emotional depth, made it clear. A solo career was not a matter of if, but when. That moment arrived in 2003. Beyoncé released her debut solo album, Dangerously in Love, a genre-blending, sonically rich collection that showcased not only her voice, but her vision. The lead single, Crazy in Love, featuring Jay-Z, exploded onto the charts. The horns, the hook, the chemistry. It was electric. The album debuted at #1 and won 5 Grammy Awards, instantly proving she was more than capable of standing on her own. Suddenly, Beyoncé wasn't just a former girl group member. She was a solo powerhouse, redefining what it meant to be a pop artist. She danced, she acted, she sang with ferocity and precision. Her performances became cinematic. Her music videos were studied for their style and symbolism. Even her quiet moments, rare interviews, soft-spoken words, carried weight. Hollywood came calling. Beyoncé took on roles that allowed her to explore new dimensions of her artistry. From the sultry Dina Jones in Dreamgirls to her playful turn in Austin Powers in Goldmember, she proved she could light up the screen as well as the stage. With every project, she grew more fearless, more exacting, more in control. This period also marked the beginning of her transformation from entertainer to brand. Whether it was fashion collaborations, fragrance launches, or magazine covers, Beyoncé was becoming a cultural force, one whose influence extended far beyond music. She had crossed the threshold of stardom, not by accident, but by design. And with the world now watching closely, she didn't blink. She built her own stage, and then she owned it. If the early 2000s were about establishing her power, the years that followed were about expanding her empire. Beyoncé didn't just evolve as an artist, she revolutionized what an artist could be. With every album, every performance, every visual, she added layers to a legacy that now stretches across decades. By 2025, Beyoncé holds the distinction of being the most awarded artist in Grammy history, with 32 Grammy Awards to her name. But those trophies are just symbols of a deeper mastery. Each era of her music represents a new chapter in both sound and storytelling. In 2013, she redefined the rules of music distribution with the surprise release of her self-titled album, Beyoncé. No promotion, no warning, just a midnight drop that broke the internet. With it came a complete visual album, pairing every song with a cinematic video. It was bold, risky, and unprecedented, and it paid off. The project debuted at #1 and sparked a new model for how music could be released, experienced, and monetized. Then came Lemonade in 2016, a visual album and emotional journey that blended Black Southern tradition, spoken word poetry, generational pain, and personal healing. It wasn't just an album, it was a cultural reckoning. From Malcolm X quotes to Yoruba spiritualism, Beyoncé wove together themes of betrayal, forgiveness, motherhood, and resilience. Lemonade was hailed by critics as one of the greatest albums of the 21st century, earning Peabody recognition and becoming a subject of academic study. In 2018, she shattered expectations again with her headlining performance at Coachella, the first Black woman to do so. Coachella wasn't a concert, it was a historic event. Drawing on HBCU traditions, marching bands, and deep-cut cultural references, the performance was meticulously crafted, rehearsed for 8 months, and delivered with unmatched precision. It later became the critically acclaimed Homecoming documentary on Netflix, further cementing her reputation as not just a performer, but a cultural architect. Beyond music, Beyoncé has graced stages like the Super Bowl, appeared on Time's 100 Most Influential People list multiple times, and headlined humanitarian campaigns for global health, gender equality, and disaster relief. She is a recipient of the CFDA Fashion Icon Award and has been honored by the NAACP, BET, Billboard, and the Kennedy Center. Her achievements are not only measured in numbers, but in the depth of her impact, in the voices she's empowered, the narratives she's elevated, and the bar she's permanently raised for what excellence looks like. While Beyoncé's music reigns at the heart of her empire, her influence stretches far beyond the recording studio. With every move, she's proven that she's not just an entertainer. She's a visionary businesswoman, a meticulous brand architect, and a cultural strategist playing the long game. One of her most impactful ventures is Ivy Park, the athleisure brand she co-founded and later took full ownership of. Originally launched in 2016 in collaboration with Topshop, Ivy Park was Beyoncé's answer to the growing demand for performance wear with cultural edge. But after parting ways with Topshop's parent company following controversies surrounding its leadership, Beyoncé relaunched Ivy Park under her own terms, in full control. The brand's partnership with Adidas catapulted it to global status, with every drop selling out in minutes. Campaigns were bold, diverse, and full of meaning, featuring models of all backgrounds, body types, and gender expressions. Ivy Park wasn't just about clothing. It was about confidence, self-expression, and reclaiming space in the fitness and fashion industries. And it was profitable, adding millions annually to Beyoncé's growing portfolio. Then there's Parkwood Entertainment, her all-encompassing production and management company. Founded in 2010, Parkwood manages not only her own releases and visuals, but also serves as a platform for emerging artists. With Beyoncé at the helm, Parkwood became a hub for female-led, Black-led creative innovation. It controls everything, from tour productions to music videos to documentaries, ensuring that every aspect of her brand aligns with her vision. Her Netflix deal, reported to be worth $60 million, began with Homecoming, a behind-the-scenes look at her Coachella performance, intertwined with narratives about identity, motherhood, and artistry. The documentary was nominated for 6 Emmys and won a Grammy for Best Music Film. It also gave audiences rare access to Beyoncé's process, the sacrifices, the planning, the uncompromising standard she sets for herself. She's also had long-standing endorsement deals with Pepsi, L'Oreal, Tiffany & Company, and H&M, each one carefully curated to fit her evolving image. But Beyoncé's approach to branding has never been about flooding the market. It's about alignment, partnerships that reflect her values, amplify her power, and protect her legacy. Behind the glamour, spreadsheets and strategy drive her empire. Beyoncé doesn't simply attach her name to a product, she builds the infrastructure, shapes the creative, and moves quietly but masterfully in the world of business. By 2025, Beyoncé's life is a curated blend of opulence, privacy, and intentionality, a testament to the empire she's built and the boundaries she fiercely protects. Her lifestyle isn't loud in the traditional sense of celebrity, but rather refined, deliberate, and steeped in generational purpose. At the center of her real estate empire is the family's crown jewel, the $90 million Bel Air mansion. Purchased in 2017 with Jay-Z, the 30,000-square-foot compound is more than a home. It's a fortress of glass, marble, and steel perched high in the Los Angeles hills. The estate boasts 8 bedrooms, 11 bathrooms, a full spa, fitness center, recording studio, bulletproof windows, and even 4 swimming pools. A basketball court and helipad round out the modern-day palace, all surrounded by thick, high-security foliage and motion-sensor gates. It's the definition of protected luxury, sleek, modern, and entirely self-contained. But Bel Air is just one corner of their kingdom. The couple also owns an East Hampton estate in New York, purchased for $26 million. The historic 12,000-square-foot property features soaring ceilings, carved marble fireplaces, and sweeping views of Georgia Pond. The estate blends old-money charm with contemporary warmth, a sanctuary for summer retreats, family holidays, and quiet reflection away from Hollywood flash. Further south, Beyoncé retains ownership of a New Orleans mansion, purchased through Parkwood Entertainment. This residence, located in the Garden District, echoes with soul, red brick, wrought iron balconies, and dramatic interiors with a Southern Gothic flair. Rumors swirl that she occasionally records there, tapping into the spiritual roots of jazz and blues in a city that knows her rhythm. Though not officially confirmed, sources have long speculated that Beyoncé and Jay-Z also maintain property in Miami's ultra-exclusive Indian Creek Island, known as the Billionaire Bunker. While details remain under wraps, the pattern is clear. Privacy, exclusivity, and timeless design are her cornerstones. Inside these homes, the aesthetic is as powerful as the woman who owns them. Every detail is purposeful, from hand-selected African art to custom chandeliers and wellness rooms infused with aromatherapy. Unlike other celebrities who flaunt flash, Beyoncé's interiors are layered with heritage, emotion, and culture. Her spaces reflect a life of intention, where luxury is measured not just in square footage, but in peace, beauty, and generational care. This isn't just about living well, it's about living wisely. For Beyoncé, real estate isn't simply property. It's protection, it's legacy, and above all, it's home. When it comes to luxury, Beyoncé's taste extends far beyond the walls of her sprawling estates. On the road, and in the skies, her lifestyle is defined by rare craftsmanship, personalization, and prestige. Her car collection isn't just a garage full of expensive vehicles, it's a rolling gallery of excellence, each one a symbol of status, artistry, and personal legacy. At the top of the list is the Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud II, a vintage masterpiece gifted to her by Jay-Z. Valued at over $1 million, the deep blue classic is a symbol of timeless elegance. With white leather interiors and chrome detailing, it evokes the glamour of old Hollywood, a nod to Beyoncé's appreciation for both heritage and grace. Then there's the Maybach Exelero, one of the most exclusive cars on the planet. This jet black beast, estimated at around $8 million, is a shared gem between Beyoncé and Jay-Z. With a twin-turbo V12 engine and futuristic lines, it's not just a car, it's a statement. Only one exists in the world, and it lives in the Carter collection. Her affinity for performance and sleek design continues with the Ferrari 458 Italia, a bright red icon of speed and control, and the Bentley Continental GT, which balances luxury with everyday drivability. Beyoncé has been spotted in both, usually chauffeured, with blackout windows and a discreet security escort nearby. But Beyoncé's collection isn't just about flash, it's about innovation too. She reportedly owns a Tesla Model X, a fully electric SUV with falcon wing doors and a whisper-quiet engine. It represents her forward-thinking mindset and occasional eco-conscious lifestyle, paired with an unmatched standard of tech lux. And when the roads aren't enough, the sky's open. Beyoncé travels in a Bombardier Challenger 850, a custom private jet valued at over $40 million. Outfitted with a plush cream interior, gold accents, a full kitchen, and monogrammed seats, the aircraft is more floating penthouse than jet. Purchased as a Father's Day gift for Jay-Z, it's now a family chariot, transporting their inner circle across continents in supreme comfort. Beyond vehicles, Beyoncé's luxury portfolio includes designer wardrobes worth millions, from custom Balmain to rare archival Mugler, as well as private yachts, bespoke jewelry, and fine art acquisitions from Black contemporary artists. In Beyoncé's world, luxury isn't just about labels, it's about legacy. Each possession tells a story. Every ride, every thread, every gem. It all reflects the journey of a woman who earned every mile. Beyoncé may be famously private, but when she speaks, the world listens. And when she takes a stand, it sends waves far beyond the stage. Over the years, she's evolved from a careful public figure into a bold and nuanced voice in some of the most important cultural and political conversations of our time. One of her most significant stances came during the Super Bowl 50 halftime show in 2016. Beyoncé took the field in a black leather bodysuit, her dancers dressed in Black Panther-inspired outfits, fists raised in the air. The performance of Formation was a celebration of blackness, Southern identity, and unapologetic pride. But it was also a protest, with lyrics referencing police brutality and visuals nodding to Hurricane Katrina. It marked a major turning point in her public persona. She was no longer just performing, she was provoking thought. That same year, she released the Formation music video, which included imagery of a child dancing in front of a police riot line, graffiti reading "Stop Shooting Us," and Beyoncé herself sinking on top of a flooded New Orleans police car. The message was unmistakable, and the impact was undeniable. The video was hailed as a cultural and political moment, sparking debate, praise, and backlash in equal measure. Beyoncé has since continued to use her platform to support Black Lives Matter, voter engagement, and criminal justice reform. Through her Bey Good Foundation, she has funded everything from mental health services for marginalized communities to COVID-19 testing and support for families facing eviction. In 2020, she partnered with the NAACP to offer small business grants to Black-owned businesses struggling during the pandemic, a move that quietly helped sustain countless lives and dreams. Her activism is often embedded in her art, subtle yet powerful. She doesn't rely on speeches or hashtags. Instead, she wields her influence through symbolism, visuals, and investments in change. Her 2020 visual album, Black is King, was a love letter to the African diaspora, filled with regal imagery, ancestral references, and messages of unity, pride, and resistance. In a world where celebrity activism can feel performative, Beyoncé's is deeply rooted, generational, and intentional. She may not be on the front lines shouting, but she's funding the march, employing the movement, and elevating the message through her megaphone. Music. For Beyoncé, power is responsibility, and she never forgets who she is, where she comes from, or who she represents. Beneath the platinum records, world tours, and billion-dollar deals lies a woman who has spent years refining not only her craft, but also her sense of self. Beyoncé's outer success is matched by an inner commitment to wellness, spirituality, and balance, all grounded in a philosophy shaped by discipline, healing, and ancestral wisdom. At the heart of her wellness routine is a dedication to holistic living. Beyoncé has spoken about the importance of nutrition and mindful eating, often following a plant-based diet, particularly in the lead-up to major performances or tours. She and Jay-Z famously partnered with a vegan meal delivery company to promote healthy, conscious living. For Beyoncé, food is fuel, not just for the body, but for focus, energy, and clarity. Her physical routine is intense: customized workouts, dance rehearsals that double as cardio, and fitness training that rivals Olympic regimens. But just as important is her emphasis on restoration. Beyoncé reportedly prioritizes sleep, massage therapy, lymphatic drainage, infrared saunas, and deep tissue work to support her voice and stamina. She sees her body not just as a tool, but as a temple, one that must be protected and honored. Spiritually, Beyoncé has long been connected to meditation, prayer, and ancestral reverence. She speaks often about divine timing, energy alignment, and manifesting through intention. Her connection to African spiritual traditions, especially those rooted in Yoruba symbolism, has become more pronounced in her visual work. She references orishas, West African deities, and often incorporates ritualistic imagery into her videos, wardrobe, and stage design. These aren't just aesthetic choices, they're part of a deeper honoring of her roots. Journaling, intention setting, and self-reflection are also part of her inner practice. Beyoncé guards her peace carefully, rarely giving interviews, taking long digital detoxes, and carving out sacred time for herself and her family. Her belief in boundaries is clear. Privacy is not isolation, it's protection. Not every moment needs to be shared for it to be sacred. Her philosophy could be summed up in a simple mantra: move with purpose, act with grace, and live with truth. Whether she's headlining a festival or tucking her kids into bed, Beyoncé's approach to life is one of quiet ceremony, deliberate, soulful, and in tune with something larger than fame. For Beyoncé, wellness isn't a trend, it's a sacred act of preservation, of the woman, the artist, the mother, and the force she continues to become. While Beyoncé's career has unfolded on the world's grandest stages, her personal life has been carefully shielded behind velvet curtains of privacy, grace, and fierce protection. At the center of that inner world is her marriage, her children, and a quiet devotion to legacy, one that transcends fame. Her love story with Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, is a tale of art, empire, and evolution. The two began dating in the early 2000s, their chemistry first hinted at in the now iconic '03 Bonnie and Clyde. From the beginning, theirs was a relationship rooted in shared ambition and mutual respect. They married in a deeply private ceremony in 2008, far from the paparazzi and red carpets, choosing intimacy over spectacle. Their union wasn't just personal, it was historic. Together, they became the first hip-hop billionaire couple, building a legacy of Black excellence, power, and partnership. Yet even royalty faces storms. In 2016, Beyoncé's Lemonade laid bare the emotional weight of betrayal and forgiveness, addressing Jay-Z's infidelity with raw vulnerability and poetic rage. It was a cultural moment, not just because of the music, but because of the courage it took to turn pain into power. Jay-Z responded with his own confessional album, 444, and in the years since, they have rebuilt, publicly and privately, a marriage now marked by honesty, therapy, and mutual accountability. At the heart of their world are their three children, Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir Carter. Blue Ivy, born in 2012, has already made history as the youngest Grammy Award winner, featured on tracks, appearing in visuals, and walking red carpets with the ease of someone born to royalty. Beyoncé calls her "my muse," and their bond is evident: poetic, protective, and powerful. In 2017, Beyoncé gave birth to twins Rumi and Sir, following a challenging pregnancy that included an emergency C-section. The experience reshaped her body and her soul. In her own words, "I learned to love all the things I used to hate about myself. My arms, my thighs, my belly." Since then, motherhood has taken center stage in her life, guiding her choices, her schedule, and even her art. Despite her public image, Beyoncé is a hands-on mother. She makes school drop-offs, oversees homework, and celebrates birthdays with handmade cakes and home videos. Holidays are spent away from the public eye on private beaches or in candlelit homes, surrounded by family and ritual. Family for Beyoncé is not just about love, it's about intention. About raising children with a deep understanding of who they are, where they come from, and what they're capable of becoming. She often speaks about legacy, not in terms of wealth, but of values: strength, humility, creativity, and purpose. In a world obsessed with visibility, Beyoncé has made invisibility a form of luxury. Her family is her greatest masterpiece, nurtured quietly, fiercely protected, and guided always by love. For someone as studied and celebrated as Beyoncé, it might seem like there's nothing left to reveal. But behind the megastar persona lies a woman full of quiet quirks, unexpected talents, and private passions rarely seen by the public. What many don't know is that Beyoncé is an avid painter. While she's never held a gallery show or auctioned a piece, those closest to her say she paints in bursts, abstract works filled with color and emotion, often created late at night when the world is quiet. It's a private escape, a meditative practice, and another way she channels what words or lyrics can't always capture. She's also a poet. Many of her lyrics, especially on albums like Lemonade, draw from pieces she's written in her journals over the years. According to collaborators, Beyoncé has written dozens of full poems that have never been published, some of which she's quietly woven into visual albums or narrated under aliases. Writing is her secret weapon, a space where she processes, mourns, dreams, and designs. Beyond the arts, Beyoncé has developed a strong interest in contract law and business negotiations. While she employs top-tier legal teams, she's known to personally read, annotate, and question every line of her contracts. Her control over her music rights, brand, and image is no accident. It's earned through study, curiosity, and sharp intuition. Few artists understand the industry machine like she does. And perhaps most surprising, Beyoncé keeps bees, literal bees. At her Los Angeles estate, she has several beehives that produce jars of honey each season. She's explained that the hobby started as a wellness project, something quiet and grounding, symbolic perhaps of her own life. Powerful, structured, and full of sweetness beneath the surface. In every corner of her private world, Beyoncé continues to surprise. Even now, she remains in motion, evolving, learning, and revealing only what she chooses. And what she chooses is always intentional. For an icon as polished and protected as Beyoncé, scandals are rare, but not absent. Her journey, though bathed in success, has not been without turbulence. What sets her apart isn't a life without controversy, but her ability to navigate storms with composure, integrity, and a striking silence that speaks louder than words. Perhaps the most public and puzzling moment came in May 2014, inside an elevator at the Standard Hotel in New York. Security footage leaked, showing Beyoncé calmly standing by as her sister Solange physically confronted Jay-Z following the Met Gala after-party. There was no audio, only speculation. The incident sparked a frenzy. What happened? Why? And why did Beyoncé remain so composed? The trio later released a joint statement citing a private family matter that had been resolved. Beyoncé never addressed it in detail, letting her silence speak volumes. The moment revealed what many already suspected. Beneath the glamour lies a deeply loyal, tightly guarded family, willing to confront hard truths, but always behind closed doors. Then came Lemonade in 2016, a poetic, visceral album that confirmed long-whispered rumors of infidelity in her marriage. The world watched as Beyoncé transformed pain into art, her lyrics laced with betrayal, rage, vulnerability, and ultimately, healing. She didn't name names, but she didn't have to. The art did it for her. It was a masterclass in creative catharsis. Jay-Z responded with 444, publicly acknowledging his mistakes. What could have ended them instead deepened their story, turning scandal into testament. There have also been legal battles. Beyoncé has faced multiple lawsuits over the years, most notably for alleged copyright infringement regarding song samples or visuals. In nearly every case, her legal team resolved matters quietly, either through settlements or dismissals. While the media covered these stories with predictable sensationalism, Beyoncé herself remained silent, never reactive, always protected. And yet, her setbacks extend beyond the headlines. In 2017, during her pregnancy with twins, Beyoncé suffered preeclampsia, a serious complication that led to an emergency C-section. She spoke later about how the experience reshaped her relationship with her body, forcing her to slow down, accept change, and reimagine what strength looks like. That moment, private but profound, became a turning point, a reminder that even queens bleed, break, and rebuild. Beyoncé doesn't avoid setbacks, she transcends them. Every fall becomes a step, every scar becomes part of the performance, and through it all, she never loses the crown. Beyoncé's legacy is not just written in gold records or Grammy trophies. It lives in the fabric of culture itself. She is more than an entertainer. She is a movement, a mirror held up to society, a blueprint for how Black women can reclaim power, define beauty, and rewrite the narrative on their own terms. Over the past 2 decades, Beyoncé has transformed from pop sensation to cultural architect. She has elevated music into multimedia art, concerts into political statements, and fame into a force for change. From her iconic performances to her subtle social cues, her influence pulses through fashion, film, feminism, and beyond. In academic circles, entire university courses are now dedicated to her work. Institutions like Harvard, Rutgers, and UT Austin have dissected her lyrics, visual albums, and interviews as part of Black studies, gender studies, and media theory curricula. Beyoncé has become both subject and author, an artist studied for her precision and praised for her disruption of the norms. Her 2016 masterpiece Lemonade is already regarded as one of the most culturally significant albums of the 21st century, a genre-blending, deeply personal body of work that redefined what music could do. It empowered Black women to see themselves in divine light. It made space for rage, for softness, for complexity, and it made that space mainstream. In 2020, her visual album, Black is King, honored the African diaspora in a way that was lush, royal, and unapologetically Black. It wasn't made to educate, it was made to illuminate. To say, this is who we are, this is where we come from, this is what we carry. Through her platform, Beyoncé has amplified other voices, young artists, Black designers, female directors, and underrepresented creatives. She hires them, funds them, credits them. Her success is not just individual, it is systemic. She builds tables and then invites others to sit beside her. Her daughter, Blue Ivy, already a Grammy winner, has begun stepping into the spotlight with poise and power, dancing on stage during Beyoncé's Renaissance World Tour, and narrating award-winning children's books. It's not just a passing of the torch, it's the evolution of a dynasty. Beyoncé's legacy is not only global, it's generational. She changed the way we view celebrity. She redefined excellence. And she did it without scandalous publicity, without desperation, without ever chasing the spotlight. Instead, she commanded it, on her terms, in her time, and with a presence that will echo for generations. In music, in culture, in history, Beyoncé doesn't just have a legacy, she is one. Beyoncé's life is not just a story of success. It's a symphony of purpose. Every note, every move, every breath she shares with the world is deliberate. In an age of overexposure, she has chosen privacy. In an industry of compromise, She has chosen control. In a world that often demands women, especially black women, shrink themselves, Beyoncé has expanded, fearlessly, beautifully, and on her own terms. Her 2025 lifestyle is the culmination of decades of vision, from a childhood home filled with ambition to the mansions that now dot her global map. From talent shows in Houston to historic Coachella stages, from recording booth rehearsals to Grammy acceptance speeches. She has built a world, not only for herself, but for the generation that follows. This is the woman who turned silence into strength, art into activism, and motherhood into a mission. A woman who holds multitudes. Performer, business mogul, wife, mother, daughter, healer, leader, architect. Beyoncé is not confined to music or media. She is the media. She is the message. She is the movement. And while her net worth soars past $500 million and her assets glitter across continents, the real wealth Beyoncé holds can't be counted. It's in the power she shares, the stories she tells, the doors she opens, quietly, powerfully, permanently. In a world obsessed with now, Beyoncé plays for forever. Because legends don't live in the moment, they create it.